Positive Spin, presenting positive, innovative, and solution-oriented views from around the world. George Chakiris is an actor, dancer, and singer who began his career appearing in some of Hollywood's most famous movies of the 1950s. On today's program, we'll present an interview with Academy Award-winning actor and author George Chakiris.
These French corporations to stop backing coal projects around the globe.
And we'll profile environmental activist Lucie from France, recipient of the 2020 Goldman Environmental Prize.
3 major French banks pulled out of a coal mine project in Australia.
I plan to continue spearheading resistance from Energize Young.
Then we'll learn about the work of 16-year-old environmental activist Alexandra Collins, a winner of the Brower Youth Award. Following that, we'll see how 2 women from Mali are changing the lives of the women and children in their community.
Poverty, growing inequality exists in all of our nations.
And we'll learn about the importance of achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals by 2030.
Today, I am committing the United States to achieving the Sustainable
And therefore, we're
Development
brothers
Goals.
and sisters.
Finally, we'll hear personal messages of peace from an Air Force veteran and a member of the National Guard.
Like that.
I wish everybody peace. Thank you.
George Chakiris has written a new book entitled My West Side Story, a memoir. George Chakiris received both the Academy Award and the Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actor for his role in West Side Story. Steven Spielberg is now directing a new version of West Side Story. I'm excited to see both the original and the new version of this timeless classic movie. George Chakiris is an actor, dancer, and singer who began his career appearing in some of Hollywood's most famous movies of the 1950s. From Gentlemen Prefer Blondes to White Christmas and There's No Business Like Show Business. In 1961, he was cast as Bernardo in West Side Story, for which he received an Academy Award. In the years that followed, he appeared in numerous television shows. Today, retired from acting, he creates sterling silver jewelry collections. Positive Spin recently interviewed George Chakiris about his best-selling book entitled My West Side Story, a Memoir. Well, first and foremost, I was 13 years old when the movie came out.
Wow, okay.
And from that very first moment, and the snapping, and especially the dancing, which I know that you're a lot of what made that happen.
Jerry Robbins made it happen. But yeah. It was, I guess you don't not surprised to hear how wonderful, what a wonderful time we all had.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
Great time.
Now, how do you feel? There seems to be a reinsurgence right now because Spielberg's doing a movie, or readapted.
Right.
So there's more energy, I guess.
Well, the truth is, it's never stopped.
It never stopped.
It's been an ongoing thing all these years.
Yeah.
And because there are always stage productions of it. I have spent time in Japan over the years as well in business and stuff. So even in Japan, I've seen American companies come over and do West Side, and they love it, of course. So. And I've seen other stage productions of it over the years. And it's always great to see a stage production because you can see new kids all the time. And they love doing it more than anything they've ever done.
Wow.
So it's no matter who does it, everybody has a great time. It's a beautiful piece of material for younger people. And because it's really a serious, well-written, important piece.
Right.
And so kids just love it. They get so involved in it.
Now, what about what you're doing now? I understand you're doing jewelry. Tell us a bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, I've been doing it for about 10 or 15 years now. It started as a hobby. It's a small business now, but it's something I love doing because I've always liked making things. So I've really, accidentally, just as a hobby, I ended up with a number of different pieces, and the thing that got me into the professional aspect was because Japanese distributor, who's now a very good friend of mine, saw my pieces downtown. He wanted to sell my things in Japan. He's been doing that for quite a long time now. So I love doing the jewelry, sterling silver jewelry especially, because I love the polish and the perfection of silver. Love gold too, but I've done all my stuff is really silver, and it's just a great thing to do. It's really, everybody, no matter who, we're all creative in some way or another.
Absolutely.
With me, aside from show business, it was jewelry. So I love that hobby. It became something interesting for me. But, some people paint, some people sculpt, some people play. Everybody has a hobby, and mine turned out to be jewelry.
Now, I have to ask about your upcoming movie about Alzheimer's. Because my mother died from Alzheimer's, so when I saw it,
Yes. Well, you know what? I worked a whole day on that movie. And the reason I got involved is because of the subject matter. I didn't know the producers of the film well, but I knew someone who was working with them, and I knew they had Chakiris was involved. I mean, they had some really wonderful people working on it as well. So and because of the subject matter, I thought I'd like to be part of it, and so maybe I worked a day and a half, but so it was a very small thing, but I didn't mind that because it's important.
yeah.
Oh, please.
So,
What?
so finally, we just want to promote the book for a little bit because we're going to be promoting it for you.
Okay.
So, just a little bit about what's in the book and.
Okay, well, I won't surprise you. The title is My West Side Story. It's really just me going back and remembering all the wonderful people that I've met, gotten to know, become friends, people I've gotten to work with, some amazing people, and I've been really lucky to have those associations with people in Canada. Because I think that's, you talk about peace, it's people and how we treat each other. And so in my book, the thing that mattered to me was how I appreciated people and how lucky I was to meet so many wonderful people and get to work on different things with so many different people. And it's just been it's been a really lovely time in so many ways. But it's people.
Right.
That's how we're here.
This comes down to that. Right? Well, listen, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Yes,
Thank you.
Lucie Pinson is an environmental activist from France who led a campaign against her country's 3 largest banks, targeting their support of the coal industry. Through her campaign, the 3 banks and 2 biggest insurance companies stopped their financing of the coal industry. For her groundbreaking work, she received the 2020 Goldman Environmental Prize for Europe.
Coal is the world's primary source of energy and is responsible for 46% of global carbon dioxide emissions. Yet coal mining, transport, and construction of coal plants still continue in developing countries. In that context, Lucie Pinson, an environmental activist, asked a simple question: who is paying for the proliferation of coal plants and infrastructure? The answer hit close to home.
Mais derrière elle, finalement, il y a une poignée de banques. Il y en a entre...
There are between 30 and 50 international banks that actually finance the coal industry worldwide. France has some of the largest banks in the world, and nobody here suspected that it was the French banks that were investing in coal energy projects.
Lucie found that France's 3 largest banks were responsible for loans of over $32 billion to the global coal industry over a 6-year period. She leveraged her connections with organizations like Friends of the Earth and Greenpeace and mounted a coordinated campaign that helped motivate thousands of activists to take to the streets of Paris to protest. This drew significant media attention to the French banks and to the insurance companies that insure coal projects. That highlighted the depth of their involvement in the coal industry and led to face-to-face meetings with key executives in the banking and insurance industries.
Il faut des personnes qui soient convaincues que
We need the bank, the investor, and the insurer to be convinced that our requests are well-founded, are legitimate. If there is no debate with these people, there will be no action. The press plays an enormous role. If we have done our job well, the journalists will interview the two parties. They will interview the NGOs, the activists, and will also question the financial players. And then we have our research. So we will win the debate.
Lucie followed this formula of using the press, social media, protests, and direct encounters with major French banks and insurance companies that were engaged in financing and insuring coal operations. After months of carefully orchestrated effort, they began stockpiling commitments from these French corporations to stop backing coal projects around the globe.
la première fois qu'on a gagné quelque chose.
The first time we succeeded was when the three major French banks pulled out of a coal mine project in Australia. That was a very, very long campaign of over a year and a half, and we put a lot into getting that victory.
Lucie kept up the pressure, and by 2019 had secured commitments from France's three largest banks and its two largest insurers to eliminate financing for new coal projects and coal companies.
Je suis assez déterminée, j'ai mes obsessions.
You decide that the French banks are going to stop funding coal, and gradually you take the next approach and the extra step. But you're still not at the top, and that's okay. We are thinking of the best strategy to push these major financial institutions into adopting policies to eliminate fossil fuels. Once there isn't a single penny going to the coal industry, then I can battle against gas, oil, or something else.
For outstanding environmental achievement for Europe, the 2020 Goldman Environmental Prize is awarded to Lucie Pinson, Paris, France.
16-year-old environmental activist Alexandra led a campaign against a cancer-causing facility responsible for the high rise of cancer in her community. Through the efforts of her students and guests, ethylene oxide, and allied groups, the cancer-producing facility in her community was closed. Alexandra was honored for environmental work with a 2020 Brower Youth Award.
Right now in DuPage County, residents claim victory in a heated battle with Sterigenics. They claim the medical instrument sterilization company spewed a dangerous chemical into the air, a chemical that has been linked to cancer. Tonight, Sterigenics says it is closing the disputed plant in Willowbrook.
2 years ago, I found out that a local ethylene oxide emitter had been emitting a cancer-causing gas called ethylene oxide for a period of around 30 years. My community had a cancer rate around 9 times the national average. When I discovered this information, I knew I had to do something. So my sister and I started an organization called SATO, Students Against Ethylene Oxide, SATO for short. We really focus on the concerns of students. As a student, we don't have the choice to exercise, to go to sports practice, to study a mere 3 miles away from a ethylene oxide emitter that's spewing this odorless, colorless gas 24 hours a day.
As a young 15-year-old, she stepped right up and said, what could she do? And I was so impressed. She presented us with ideas she had to start a youth movement, a mini army of sorts, and she calls me a mentor, but really it's an honor to be affiliated with SATO.
We did this through letter writing, lobbying government officials, attending protests, and also organizing protests as well as giving informative presentations in class that taught students and teachers about the danger ethylene oxide poses to their health.
Ethylene oxide is a class 1 carcinogen according to the World Health Organization, which means that when humans and animals are exposed to it, this chemical can mutate our genes and cause many harmful side effects.
I think as a teenager, sometimes it can be difficult to speak up about issues, even if you're super passionate about them. And SATO's collaboration with my high school's ecology club really gave me a community of other like-minded teenagers and the confidence to speak up about things I'm passionate about, including environmentalism, even when I'm the youngest person in the room, surrounded by local government officials or even Illinois EPA members.
Most recently, I launched SATO's first specialized project, ETO Free. The project's all-girl team coded and designed a website that reviews ethylene oxide-free beauty products. The website's easy availability of resources opens the floodgates of information to motivate girls to push for transparency in product labeling and production. I plan to continue spearheading resistance from energized young people in order to raise awareness about the cancer danger ETO poses to millions of Americans.
What's really unique about SATO is that instead of simply working towards ETO emissions and bans, we really hone in on those issues that are related to students. SATO focuses on showing students that their voices matter. My hope for the next generation is that they can take action and receive the answers that they want, that they're genuinely concerned about, so that they can solve issues and problems in their community.
Two women leaders are changing the fate of Malian women by organizing diverse communities of women in their region and empower disabled women to create products of necessity for their communities.
Lorsque les déplacés ont commencé à venir, c'est vrai que nous avons toutes pleuré. On a vu des femmes en état de grossesse, des femmes avec des petits-enfants. C'était pas facile.
Le plus souvent, elles ont des problèmes avec les bandits qui sont sur les routes, qui cherchent à les violer, ou souvent qui prennent tout ce qu'elles ont comme bien.
Ici à Gao, tout le monde était parti. Par exemple, les hommes, parce qu'ils avaient des difficultés. Donc les hommes étaient partis, laisser les femmes à elles-mêmes. Nous avons des femmes arabes, nous avons des femmes tamashek, nous avons de tout le monde. Donc avec cette plateforme, vraiment, ça nous a relevé de nos défis. On a trouvé un financement avec la MINUSMA, on a fait beaucoup de sensibilisation. Ça m'a permis d'être conseillère municipale parce qu'elle nous a formés sur le leadership. Mon domaine en tout cas d'intervention, ça a été spécifiquement au niveau des femmes et des enfants. Depuis que j'ai fini mes études, c'était mon choix.
La principale vocation vraiment, c'est de travailler pour réussir. Je suis en train de griller de l'arachide pour le transformer en pâte. On est handicapé, mais le handicap ne nous empêche pas de travailler. On a les capacités. Tant qu'on est avec Tata, on peut. On a un espoir, un grand espoir.
Ma fierté, c'est le changement que je vois. Et aujourd'hui, je vois le changement de comportement. Je vois le changement dans leur participation à la vie publique. Le ravage que fait le Covid dans nos familles, et vu la place des femmes dans la propriété et le respect des règles d'hygiène dans une famille, je me suis dit pourquoi ne pas initier un grand nombre d'associations féminines à la fabrication du savon.
L'école est un rempart pour barrer la route à ces djihadistes et ensuite empêcher ces enfants d'être enrôlés dans les structures de banditisme, de groupes armés. Le secret au niveau de ma famille, c'est que nous sommes solidaires.
Ce qui symbolise beaucoup, c'est le travail. Moi, je pense que c'est le travail. Elle travaille dur, parce qu'elle se bat toujours, elle a toujours des projets dans la tête.
Donc, depuis l'enfance, j'ai ce cœur-là de me battre, de réussir et pour pouvoir gagner. Je ne gagne pas tout le temps, mais je ne me décourage pas.
In 2015, the member countries of the United Nations signed onto an international agreement to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. The 17 targeted goals are focused on addressing the most pressing problems facing the world community. Let's learn more about the Sustainable Development Goals.
The United Nations General Assembly was the scene of a celebration in 2015, when 193 member countries adopted the Sustainable Development Goals, a unanimous commitment to end poverty, fight inequality, and tackle climate change.
We need action from everyone, everywhere. 17 Sustainable Development Goals are our guide. They are a to-do list for people and planet, and the blueprint for success.
The SDGs are an agenda to balance human prosperity with protecting the planet.
Imagine there's no countries.
UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador Chakira asked global leaders to imagine a world where we achieve the goals by 2030. While fellow UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador Angelique Kidjo underscored a focus on Africa and developing countries. But the universal agenda is important to all nations, as leaders from developed countries also pledged to make the goals a reality.
Poverty, growing inequality exists in all of our nations, and all of our nations have work to do, and that includes here in the United States. And that's why today I am committing the United States to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals.
The Sustainable Development Goals build on the success of another 15-year plan. Created in the year 2000, the Millennium Development Goals sunset at the end of 2015. The MDGs halved extreme poverty, achieved equal primary education for girls and boys, and dropped HIV infection by 40%, among many successes. The SDGs go beyond the MDGs by improving the lives of everyone, everywhere, and create a better world for future generations.
Today, we are 193 young people representing billions more.
The youngest Nobel Peace Laureate, Malala, calls on world leaders to keep their promise to every child.
Each lantern we hold represents the hope we have for our future because of the commitments you have made to the global goals.
And Pope Francis advised world leaders to put humanity and the environment over politics.
Los gobernantes han de hacer todo lo posible a fin de que todos puedan tener la mínima base material y espiritual para ejercer su dignidad y para formar y mantener una familia.
193 nations unanimously committed to the Sustainable Development Goals.
It is so decided.
But the journey starts here. Now's the time to take global action for local results and move our people and planet towards a sustainable future.
Finally, we'll hear personal messages of peace from an Air Force veteran and a member of the National Guard.
My name is Jesus Vasquez. I'm a Mexican by birth, an American by choice, and I'm also a U.S. Air Force veteran. And for me, peace is very important, especially at this time where this country is so divided, and we don't have the freedom to speak our mind anymore. So we have to stop looking at ourselves as politically divided, but see ourselves as who we truly are. We're human beings. We're all created from the same source, whatever name you want to call that source. And therefore, we're brothers and sisters. And if we begin to look at ourselves and at the world like that, then we will have peace in the world. We'll help each other. We'll forgive each other and support each other and survive. So let's hope that more of us are open to these ideas and join me in being an example for peace. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Hi, my name is Arjun Ryman, and I work for the Army National Guard. What peace means to me is knowing that individuality exists in every single person, and knowing that everyone has different beliefs. And yes, you can disagree with each other, but don't create violence over it. There's a lot of people out there that use guns for violence. There's a lot of other people that use guns for protection and help others in need. But why use guns when you can use these babies? Let's go. 1, 2. Okay, I'm good. And we come to a compromise. I lost, he wins, so. I wish everybody peace. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Positive Spin. This show is made possible through the generosity of the Patty and Jack Bright Foundation. Watch and subscribe on our previous episodes on YouTube, and please like us on Facebook. Follow us on Free Speech TV, Roku, Sling, DirecTV, Dish Network, and Apple TV. I'm Bill McCarthy. Stay safe and healthy, and remember, you can create your own positive news.
Positive news.